throat's sore.
Good thing it's only up 30 minutes. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt and
Tom Bridwell.
hello,
here we are,
everybody.
first week of December.
Ho, ho, ho. And
How's-
I don't mean a loose woman.
You've said that before, and it makes me laugh every time.
when Owen was 3 months old, when Blair came back from Lubbock and Clayton came with Owen for Christmas, Blair had a onesie and had it monogrammed, ho, 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 and I don't mean a loose woman on
That
it.
is fantastic. Did she find that at the Walmart
No,
in Lubbock?
she had it done.
Oh,
she had it made.
Oh.
Because I
funny.
have said this for
Oh,
years.
that's awesome. Did she make you one?
No, it was just Owen came in and she walked in. She and Clayton walked in, and here's this little precious baby.
Oh.
And he has on that
That
onesie.
is a crack up. Does she still have it?
I'm sure she does. I doubt if she ever threw it away.
I would never get rid of
Yeah,
that. That is
She'll have
funny.
to I bet she needs to frame it.
Yeah.
You know, because Owen would get a kick at it, put it in his child's room.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
So what are everybody's plans for holidays?
Well, we'll be at home.
For Christmas?
Huh?
Will all your kids come?
Well, the Australians won't because Wesley's been here with Wyatt, and then not long ago she was here with Huxley and the twins. So she said that she said, I think I've spent my travel budget.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
It's so expensive. But so they won't be here, but Britt and Blair will be here.
Good.
With their kids. So we'll have plenty. And I don't know about Corey and Savannah. They may still keep keep Elliot kind of away. I'm really glad they didn't bring him this Thanksgiving with
you
me
not
being
feeling
so
well.
crappy, feeling bad. I wouldn't have held him, but I just would have been nervous about it a little bit. So, yeah.
How old is Elliot?
Well, I think he's like 3 months old or 4 months old, maybe.
Okay. Wow, that goes fast.
I know, doesn't it?
How's Tom doing being grandpa?
Oh, he likes it.
He's used to being around a bunch of kids with your crew.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah, it's
not
fun
like
for
he's-
him to have his own.
Yeah, of
and
course.
they live in Emory, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away. So he drives there like almost every other week. Sometimes on Sunday, he'll just get in the car and drive and go and play with Elliot and then come home.
that's so cute.
I know, it's really cute.
Do you feel like he treats your children and grandchildren like they are his?
He is great with my kids.
Yeah. Well, I know that, but do you think he feels like that closeness?
Oh, yeah, I think. And they love Tom.
I know
mean,
they do.
you
I've
know,
seen them interact together. It's a very sweet relationship.
It really is. And he's funny, and he gets that we're all kind of crazy and wild. And, you know.
Well, your family definitely is. It's like my family. They're high energy. There's a lot of opinions. There's feelings. You know, it's not everybody's going to always play nice 100% of the time.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's just real.
Yeah.
You guys are a very real family.
Yeah, they're great. It's great. I'm so happy having everybody there.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah.
Tom, what are you going to do for Christmas?
We are going to Disney World.
You are not.
Oh.
Are you really?
Yes, not until after Christmas, but we're going to go on the 27th to the 1st. We'll come home on the New Year's Day.
Well, you're going to have a
God
lot of
bless you.
friends there.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you going with like any other family members?
Yes. So my parents are taking me, Maureen, and Betty. And then they're also taking my sister Jordan and her adopted daughter Caroline. And that's it.
Wow.
Are y'all hiring a guide?
Yes, they did. They hired a guide.
Yeah.
They did this with my other sister Beth and her children last year. So
Wow, these
they
are
are
killer
basically
grandparents.
now they're spreading the
Spreading the
They're
love.
making it equal. So they apparently taking the whole family was just going to be too chaotic. So they did it in 2 shifts.
So when I had this idea that I took Owen and Skylar to Disneyland, and the grandkids were all like, when do we get to go? When do we get to go? So I was looking it up, and I priced it all out for everybody, for the whole gang, and it was going to be like $12,000 for Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm shocked it's not more.
And so so they wanted to go to Six Flags while everybody was here over Thanksgiving, and so I paid for that. I'm like, okay, Six Flags is great.
Perfect.
Yeah, and they've all been to Disney World at some point or Disneyland. So no, I don't think anybody. I think they had. I mean, they loved Six Flags.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They loved it.
Anna Bren loves Six Flags. Carter hates it.
I love it. I love roller coasters.
I love roller coasters.
Not a fan.
No, John?
Nope. I'll be at Epcot Center the whole time, or I'm going to play golf too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I do like Epcot.
Yeah, I do too. I mean,
Epcot's
I like
interesting and fun.
Disneyland too. Disneyland was really fun, but I was like, I just don't feel like spending $10,000.
No, I wouldn't either.
I mean,
At all.
Yeah.
Well, as the holidays approach and as families and friends and in-laws get together, I thought it might be, and kids coming home from college and kids being home a very long time off of school, I thought it might be a good idea to just talk through what are some of those things that come up that we anticipate or maybe have a little bit of anxiety about that we can help our listeners navigate. And when I say that, I think about some people in particular. Like I think about myself and other friends of mine who have college kids, and we all talk about like how difficult it is to have college-age kids who've been living on their own with no rules and no boundaries and all kinds of time and all kinds of freedom, come home and now you want to go to bed. You don't want to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning and wonder whether or not they're on their way home or in a ditch. No,
it's hard. I remember. I remember. I'm so glad I'm not at that phase.
So there's that stage.
Yes.
There's the in-law. I think of people, and I know you counsel people who have tough relationships with in-laws.
Yes.
And so there's anxiety about that. There's maybe a little bit of anger and frustration about, well, we always are with your family over the holidays. When are we going to be with my family over the holidays? So I know there's that. I mean, and then there's the money of, there's the stress of money.
Yeah.
And the frustration of that, because one person might have grown up with the huge Christmases and they've got to have huge Christmases.
Right.
And the other person is like, we don't need to spend $10,000 on Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's be smart and economical. And so I just think about like how hard it is for so many people for so many different reasons. I mean, a lot of people, Thanksgiving is over. A lot of people, I think, really enjoy Thanksgiving because
it's more food oriented.
It's food. There's not as much pressure. There's not as many decorations. There's no presents. You're not off as long, which I think for a lot of people is a good thing. You know? In-laws are in and out. Kids are in and out. But Christmas can feel daunting for a lot of people because we're talking 2 to 6 weeks of family, friends, holiday that can feel really stressful.
Yeah. And, just the present buying. So, like for me, I have Tom, and then I've got my 3 daughters, and then I have 9 grandchildren. So that's a lot of, and then Corey's, and then Elliot, but Tom will take care of that. But it's a lot. And one of the things that I started doing was I used to think I needed to go shopping and buy all this stuff, and they'd give me a long list, and then I'd go buy it all, and it was too much. And I just decided that I was going to give money.
Brilliant.
And then I can, I give the same amount to every grandchild. I give the same amount to my 3 daughters. And then, I can wrap them in like 5 little presents or 5 presents so they have plenty to open. And I do the exact same number of presents because my children used to sit and count the presents. And I remember looking at my sister's stash and trying to figure out if we had the same thing. My parents gave me a typewriter one year for Christmas, and I was like, oh, but it was for college.
Well, then that was a good gift.
Yeah, well, not really, but
Yeah.
that should have just been,
School supplies.
school supplies. Yeah, but so I had to learn how to set limits for myself because I wanted everybody to be so happy and to think that I was the greatest person in the whole world. And then I had to give that up, because I just thought I've got to do something that works for me so that I'm not just totally overwhelmed with all of it. So you have, if we have 5 presents and there are 9 grandchildren, that's 45 presents to wrap. And then Tom and, it's a lot.
That's a
It's a lot.
That is a lot of presents.
I know.
And that's a lot of pressure. But even taking some of the pressure off and saying, okay, I'm not going to do, and that's a great tip, like what are some simple things that you can do to take a little bit of your foot off the gas because it can feel very overwhelming for a lot of people.
If I had to shop
for 45 gifts.
Or
and then wrap.
It would be, besides that, you don't really even know. I didn't even, Skylar and Charlie May, there's a thing called Giftful, and it's a website that they fill out that has, they pick things out so people can go to that website and buy the gifts.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just doing money.
Yeah.
And then they can go buy their own stuff off that same site.
That's exactly right.
I guess I'm kind of selfish, but I think have to self-care.
Self-care. Yeah. I think, it's kind of like what we were talking about a few weeks ago. I don't think that's selfish at all. I think there's a realistic thing when you have 11 grandchildren, 3 children, a husband. And that's a lot.
It's a lot of people. And it's great. And I love it.
Of course.
But I do have to kind of keep it simple.
As a former grandchild, I loved receiving money.
Heck
You know what? Me too.
I remember
think that's what
when
grandparents
I
are
became
for.
a teenager, that was more prevalent, and I loved it. I loved it.
Me too. For
Because
sure.
there was always a gift or two that just kind of was like, what were you thinking, Grandma?
Oh, yeah. I remember one year my really rich uncle, I was like 18, and he bought me the Miss America game. I was like,
I didn't even know there ever
was
a
planet?
game.
On what planet?
Was it like a board game?
a board game.
Did you roll the dice and see who ended up
There was
being
like
Miss America?
a spinner on it or something. I don't know. I was like,
How
and
old
it was
were
like,
you?
I was at like 18. I was a senior in high school. And I remember he bought that for me. I'm like, an envelope with $100 would have been just fine.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm laughing.
So, Janice, what would you say? I can think of several people that I work with right now who really struggle with their in-laws, overpowering mother-in-laws, a mother-in-law who drinks too much, a father-in-law who doesn't help at all, just comes and sits. And so for somebody who has anxiety or maybe a little bit of fear around how do I deal with
Or a resentment about it.
Yeah. Resentment. How do I deal with my husband's parents coming into my home and drinking too much, not helping? And you have 2 weeks of this. How would you encourage a client to navigate
So
that?
do they stay with the people for 2 weeks? Oh.
Are they out of their minds?
Yeah. What? Well, I think
Who would even want to do that?
I wouldn't want to go anywhere for 2 weeks except,
only
stay.
one of them is I know for sure 2 weeks, but one of them, I have 3 clients. One mother-in-law is the husband's mother, incredibly controlling, overpowering.
So is his father dead or something?
No, the father comes. It's just kind of, it's just she's the one who's incredibly difficult. She's opinionated. She's controlling, the mother of the husband. And she comes in and it's like takes over. It's her house. It's her way. It's her opinions. And she has an opinions. And then I have another woman whose mother-in-law drinks too much, and she has a lot of fear around the alcohol around the kids.
So what does she do?
She does nothing.
Act out?
Yeah, she just gets quiet, goes to her room. Oh, are you talking about the mother-in-law?
The mother-in-law that drinks too much. Does she get belligerent or
no? She doesn't get belligerent.
Does she fall down or
she just stumbles. She slurs her words. She gets real. Oh, I love you so much.
How old are the kids?
8, and I think like 10. And it's really hard on her. And, and the husband's like, this is my parents, I'm not going to not see my parents for Thanksgiving. And so, and the mom, the girl, she just like gets resentful and becomes reclusive. And she puts the kids to bed and then she goes into her room by her. So she's miserable,
Oh, it's such a slippery slope. You know what? I guess my suggestion with that would be to her husband and say, it is not your wife's responsibility to address the alcohol with your mother. It would be yours and your father's. To, and maybe he's the one that has to kind of come up with some of the limits, or, how long do they stay? 2 weeks?
Well, that one that I don't think they stay quite 2 weeks, but they come and stay at their house for way too long. And, there's just already anxiety.
I'd rent them a room at a hotel, and say it's just too hectic around here with all of this. So,
you would do the same with the controlling mother-in-law and
well, I just think it's the if it were Tom's fault, well, both of his parents have transitioned, but if it were them, I would be like, hey, this is your family. This is it is not okay for this to go on in this house, and I'm asking you to talk to your parents about it. And say, look, the kids are, with the alcohol, what he could say is, the kids are aware of alcohol now. So even if we have a couple of drinks or you have a glass of wine at lunch or whatever, we're going to limit it this year. We're not going to just have an endless drinking party. I think that, and if they don't like it, then, then they don't have to come, or they can, get a room someplace.
I think I know that, and I'm sure this is the case for a lot of people, like the husband, he's like, it's my parents, if you think about it, he's grown up with this is a familiar, situation for him. And he's like, we can just suck it up. It's 2 weeks or 10 days or, 5 days, whatever it is. And we can just put up with it, but I listen to it and I'm the same as you. I'm like, no, like that's just not okay. Like for any of it. If a mother-in-law came in and started telling me how to run my house or how to raise my children.
I would do with that, if a mother-in-law came into my house with that, I would have the conversation with them and I would say, hey, I love you very much and I'm happy that you're here. This is my house with, Joe, and we will discipline the children. We're the ones that are going to set the rules. So I'm just giving you a heads up. I mean, I think you have to confront some of that. And I don't think you have to be mean, but I think you just talk about yourself. This is the way we've decided. Joe and I have decided we're going to do it this way. So I just am letting you know that we're the ones that are making the decisions around this.
I find myself asking, what would Larry David do right now with this situation?
Is that our standard?
Because he goes off the deep end and pisses people off all the time on that show. But the best part, the takeaway is just talking about it candidly. That's genius. Like if you have a problem, talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, just talk. He never gets in physical altercations with anybody on the show, but he pisses everybody off just because he's honest and talks and gives his opinions. And
He sure
it's
does.
hilarious. You can find humor in any kind of, a lot of the things you guys have just mentioned there can be some humor in it. Like if you just talk about it and kind of realize, this is ridiculous. Do they need to be staying for 11 nights? It's Thanksgiving. I mean,
11 nights?
whatever. I just threw that number out. But if it's almost 2 weeks, I mean, like, for instance, if you went from the Friday school lets out till the Monday it comes back, that would be like 9 nights, I think, or 10 nights.
Over Christmas, my college kids are home 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's insane. But
6
kids are a
weeks.
little different than in-laws.
And I don't know what happened because I used to come home for like 3 or 4, but 6. Anna Prince said, yeah, will you make my flight for December 7th? I said, okay, when do you go back? She goes, January 17th. Or so. I almost spit out my Topo Chico. I was like, wait, what?
Will they
home for
stay at Topher's?
6 weeks?
Will they stay at Topher's some of that?
So for college kids, let's talk about that because I know a lot of our listeners are my friends who have college kids. And, we share war stories after our kids go back to school about how hard it is. So how did you navigate your girls coming home? Would you just set the precedence before they came home? Hey, reminder, that's what I do with my kids. You're coming home. Reminder, these are the rules of my home. And if you would like to come home and stay here over the holiday, here's what you will need
to
remember.
And one of the things that when my girls would come home, I would talk to them about curfew. I would say, like, look, you may stay out till 3 a.m. when you're at college, but I gotta sleep, and you come in, and I'll hear you come in and everything. So everybody has to be home by midnight or latest 1 o'clock or something.
Mine's 1.
But they would have some friends over, but it wasn't that. I don't remember that ever being a problem. I was real. I did not allow underage drinking in my house, and
it has happened.
Yeah,
but not because I said it was okay. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah,
but
and that was my biggest concern because I just didn't want to.
Yeah, I don't want the liability.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Being a single
and
mom?
I never ever served alcohol.
Heck no.
Until they were of age.
The first time back from college, that first time back in your freshman year, it's really special because you come back and you want to see all your friends that you haven't seen for the longest time in your life. It's the first really long break from your best friends you grew up with. So when
you're still sort of keeping in touch with them too.
Yeah.
So when you come home, you've got to get all of those guys together, but your parents. I wasn't thinking about my parents' perspective that they wanted to have time to see me. And I was going to have to put in some time with the family.
Yeah.
But they were definitely not seeing my perspective about needing to see my friends too. Because it's not just hanging out. It's like comparing notes on music and freedom and all that stuff. And
Chicks.
Do you have a fake ID yet?
Yeah.
Chicks, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is one thing people can do is see the other person's perspective.
That's really good, Tom.
Because it's got to be a 50-50 thing.
But the thing is what I totally agree with you on that. They were so happy to see their high school friends and stuff. The good news about each of my daughters, there was always 1 or 2 or 3 families that had the parties for the kids. Mm-hmm. And I was so happy because they didn't.
Didn't involve you.
Yeah, no, it didn't, and it was great.
Mm-hmm. I have never wanted to be the party house.
Yeah, me neither.
Ever, never, ever, never, ever. The hard part for my kids and the school they went to was so many kids who go to Hillcrest don't live in the neighborhood.
Oh, that's right. And
so
that's hard.
I was one of the few homes in the hood, which let me tell you, was not easy to navigate. Yeah. I mean, if I would go out to dinner with Craig and happen to come home a little early.
I remember I've heard some of those stories.
Stressful.
That's so hard.
Oh, it is so stressful.
So hard.
So to your point, Tom, and I think it was a good one thing that I did with my kids before they come home is I planned.
Yes.
Before they came home, plan on this is what we're going to do as a family. Because I totally agree with you, Tom, that spending time with mom is not the priority. Right. I get it. But I have to say, the night before Carter left, I mean, this was Saturday night. I was coming home Saturday afternoon, and he texted me, "Can I have a date tonight with my favorite person?" And
was it you?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's so cute.
And I was like, I mean, the tears, his last night home, because I had already done we did Thanksgiving, we went to the Cowboy game, we were with each other Thursday night, I took him I planned Javier's on Wednesday night, so it's like, oh, was that you, Tom?
That's my alarm.
Oh, that it's time.
No, I mean, we got a little more time.
Okay. Anyway, I think I'm really glad you said that because one thing that I think helped that was I'm going to go to lunch with Anna Print and shop with her this day. I'm going to spend time with...
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they'll be like... I learned that because otherwise, they're going to be like, Mom, I have plans. Uh-huh. Mom, I have a blah, blah, blah tonight. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just
if you want them, then
here.
you make your own plans with them. Uh-huh. Yeah. And they do want to hang out with their high school friends.
Yeah.
I totally remember that.
Heck yeah. I think the most important thing that we could end with, at least from my perspective, from what I think about when I think about all these people, is it's okay to have boundaries.
It is because we are setting limits for ourselves, what we are willing to have happen in our homes or with, so
and
that
our
we
families,
get to be the boss.
With our peace.
Uh-huh.
I don't want my peace disrupted.
No. And I mean, it's going to be a little disrupted.
Of course.
But it's, and they'll get better and better at this, because
maturity helps.
Uh-huh, it really does.
And next year, 2024, during Thanksgiving, everyone will be arguing about the contesting of the election, which Hundo P will be happening.
Hundo P.
Who's that?
Because Thanksgiving will happen about 2 weeks after the election.
I didn't even think about that.
It won't be settled by then.
So should we just say another remedy is take politics and religion off the table?
Politics is not served
for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
There's a T-shirt right there for you.
I think everybody that would be at my house has the same political opinion. So.
Really? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't even know. That's the last thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to talk.
Me too.
I love Jesus. I don't want to talk about him, and I don't want to talk about Biden, Trump, or anybody else that I don't even know who's running. I don't care. I don't want to.
Agreed. There's so many other things to talk about.
So many more pleasant,
agree.
Lovely. Yeah,
the worst.
We spend our time at the table on Thanksgiving laughing our heads off. We go around and everybody gets to make. Mia calls it the speech. It's time for the speeches, and everybody goes around and says what they're thankful for.
I had my kids mix it up this year. I said, okay, somebody has to come up with a new question.
Yeah.
And And one of the kids said, let's talk about what we hope we do better next year.
Oh, I love it.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an insightful one.
That was
with
very
my crew.
insightful. We didn't get that deep.
It's not that deep. Well, we hope that the holidays are full of boundaries.
Yes. Remember to say
Self-care.
yes when you want to say yes and no when you want to say no. It's okay to say no.
It's encouraged by Janice and I to say
yes,
no.
it is.
I've
What's
already
not-
said no.
It's not unkind to say no. Unkind is to say no, asshole.
Ah!
So leave off the asshole.
Exactly. Exactly. We hope you have a wonderful week.
Thanks for listening.